And zoning, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, fire evacuation. In case of a fire, there's two ways to exit the chambers. The doors behind you, the doors to your right, my left. Walk down the stairs and a good distance away from the building. Roll call, please.
Okay, Terrence Lynch.
Present.
Linda DeGray.
Here.
John Petronella is absent. Francis Alimo, absent. Joseph Muley.
Here.
Kenneth Walensky is here. Vinnie Grillo, absent. Christian D'Antonio.
Here.
Walter Cruzell.
Here.
At this time, I want to see both Commissioner Cruzell and Commissioner D'Antonio for the balance of the meeting for the absent commissioners. Okay? I'll entertain a motion for the approval of the minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes of December 19th.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, any corrections, concerns, discussion? All in favor? Raise your hand.
Aye.
Okay. All right, we received a town attorney's report of December 24th. That would be online. Walter, I just thought, that's, yes, okay. We don't have anything from the zoning enforcement officer. We'll go right down to public hearing 3111.
Public participation.
I'm sorry. I was skipping over everything.
Number 7.
It's written right
Yeah, I know. I missed it.
Okay, I just thought I'd let you
Okay.
know.
I apologize. Okay, at this time,
It's going to be a good meeting, I can see that
it's
already.
Lori. Lori's fault.
Happy New Year, everybody.
My apologies. I really, yeah. We got talking, and I apologize. Anyone at this time would like to speak for anything about planning and zoning that is not on the agenda? Anyone? For the third time? Okay, seeing none, I close public participation. Now we're going to move on to public hearing 31.
Bond releases.
We don't have any.
Continued public hearings, none.
No, we don't have anything. No, we just have
New public hearing.
new public hearing.
Okay, public
Secretary.
hearing, number 3111, 10 Hazard Avenue, Unit 17. Application for a special use permit to allow medical use, David Vonesh, applicant, Equity 1 Northeast Portfolio, LLC owner, map 56, lot 22, BR zone.
Okay, is the applicant here?
Yes, I am.
Please have a seat. Tell us your name and address for the record and what you would like to do.
Hello, this is I'm David Vonish. I'm at 15 Albany Turnpike in West Simsbury, Connecticut. What I would like to do is I purchased a franchise called the Joint Chiropractic. They've been around for 25 years. There's over 1,000 locations, roughly 1,000 locations throughout the country. None in Connecticut yet, so this would be the first franchise opportunity in Connecticut. And essentially, we provide a very simple set of services, which is a chiropractic, what we call an adjustment. It's a kind of a spinal adjustment, what every chiropractor knows how to do. And that's it. We don't have any other special equipment. We really have this low-cost, affordable care model for chiropractic care for individuals to either join a membership plan or they can pay as they go. And we kind of boast that there's no appointment necessary. You can show up and get your chiropractic care. So that's the extent of the medical use permit that we are asking for that location, which is Brookside Plaza on Hazard Avenue.
Okay. Georgie?
So this is a pretty straightforward application for a change of use to allow medical office at this plaza. So there will be no exterior work done to the plaza, only minor interior. So the parking lot at this plaza is shared parking, which there's more than enough parking at this plaza. The tenant will be occupying the bottom right corner of the existing pylon sign for his advertising of the business, which is between the leasee and the owner/applicant. This falls under the special permit criteria. He will need a waiver of the site plan requirement under section 9.10.2.c. And then there's just general 8 conditions, and that's pretty much all there is. Our departmental comments have been satisfied online, so he is ready for action.
Okay. Walter, any questions? Joe?
Nope,
Terry?
looks good.
Ken?
Good?
Okay. Okay, I will entertain a motion.
I believe we have to have two
Oh,
motions.
right, wait, we
Oh,
have
wait a
to
minute.
open it up to the public.
Yes.
Anyone in the audience who'd like to speak for or against this applicant? Anyone? Seeing none? Okay.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? All right, okay. I'll
Okay, I
entertain.
believe we have to have two motions, staff?
That is correct.
Okay.
One for waiver, one for
So the
approval.
first motion would be, I make a motion to approve a waiver of a site plan under section 9-10-2.c for Mr. Vonesh and his
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Terrence Lynch,
4.
Linda DeGray,
4.
Joseph Muley,
4.
Kenneth Linsky is 4, Christian D'Antonio,
4.
Walter Cruzell.
4.
Okay, unanimous vote.
All right, waiver's been approved, okay.
So now I make a motion to approve PH 3111, 10 Hazard Avenue, application for a special use permit to allow medical office use. David Vonesh, applicant Equity One, Northeast Portfolio LLC owner, with the following 8 conditions as noted in the staff's report.
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Terrence Lynch,
4.
Linda DeGray,
4.
Joseph Muley,
4.
Kenneth Linsky is 4, Christian D'Antonio,
4.
Walter Cruzell.
4.
Congratulations,
Well, thank you so much.
and good luck with your
Thank you.
practice.
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck.
Happy New Year.
And Happy New Year.
Okay. All right.
Feel free to come up if you need more chance to pull one up.
Okay,
Okay,
go for it.
you ready? Okay.
Just wait for you.
Next order of business is SPR number 1945, 395 Enfield Street. Application for a site plan modification for Dairy Queen, Michael Cassetta applicant, RMP LLC owner, map 33/lot 233, BL zone, Enfield Street design overlay.
Welcome. Name and address, please, for the record.
Good evening. For the record, my name is Jim Cassidy. I'm a professional engineer and principal with the firm of Halsey, Pearson and Cassidy. I'm located at 630 Main Street in Cromwell, Connecticut.
Okay.
Sorry, Cromwell, Connecticut. With me this evening is Michael Cassetta,
And
who's
I need him to introduce himself and his address, please.
Hi, good evening. My name is Michael Cassetta. I live at 323 Weathersfield Road, Berlin, Connecticut, and I own Dairy Queen on 395 Enfield Street.
Okay, okay, go ahead.
Is it possible to open the file that says, oh, I'm sorry, thank you. Makes it easier. Sorry. So the property we're talking about this evening is at 395 Enfield Street. This is, as Michael had mentioned, this is the existing Dairy Queen on this property. In my presentation package, if I can just, you got a little bit different system here than I do, so I apologize for a second. So the first slide I have up is an existing site photo. Again, the property is outlined in yellow. This is the property at 395 Enfield Street, currently used as a restaurant with a drive-through service around the rear of the building. There is no indoor seating. It's only walk-up service and drive-through service presently. The overall parcel is approximately 0.5 acres. As was mentioned, it is in the BL district in the King Street, Enfield Street overlay district. Adjacent properties to the north are in the BL zone, being the Federal Credit Union Bank. Off to the south, there's a convenience store that's also in the BL district. And then off to the east or to the right in this space is a vacant piece of property that's R30 zone, presently forested. Then off to the west or left is going to be Enfield Street. The existing site contains the existing building with a footprint of about 769 square feet for the existing building, represented by the brown rectangle on this plan. There is 2 site accesses off Enfield Street, one to the south for entrance only and one to the north, providing access around the entire circumference of the building, and also access to a series, or scattered parking lots for a total of 22 parking spaces throughout the site. Dairy Queen is requiring Mr. Casetta to update the building, and so as part of it, we were looking at the site and trying to figure ways we can improve it. One of the big issues you find right now, I'm going to try to blow up on this one a little bit.
Down the bottom.
It is a scroll bar. Sorry, I'm a little slow today. I'm a little under the weather, so I apologize. Right now, one of the issues with the site is the drive-through and how the queuing works. On this plan, what I'm representing is that if you take a look at the red vehicles, those are vehicles that are queuing up to the menu board. So presently, you can queue 5 vehicles before they start to back up into the state right-of-way, although the state right-of-way is excessive along the front of the property. The vehicles shown in green would vehicles that would queue from the menu board to the window, so you can get an additional 3. So technically, you can get a total of 8 vehicles queued on this site. So currently, it doesn't even meet the state requirement, state DOT requirement, where you're supposed to have 14 queue vehicles if you were to have a drive-through. So rather than just proposing to come in to just repave the site and leave kind of status quo, we thought we'd take the opportunity at this point to improve the overall traffic circulation for the site. So what we've presented is, as part of repaving this site, we're going to reconfigure the old drive-through. What we're looking to do is put the drive-through menu board to the far east end of the property. There's actually an existing concrete pad out there right now, and then put the menu board out there. What that allows us to happen is you would be able to queue the red cars, again, which shows a total of 9 cars before they start to back up into the state right-of-way. In addition to, from the new menu board to the window, you would get an additional 7 vehicles. So you'd have a total of 16 queue vehicles. So we're better than double what was existing, being able to queue out there. Where you see the pad between the existing building and the new large landscape island that we have for the new menu board, we're proposing to leave that concrete pad there and leave that opening, and we'd utilize that for a loading area for any delivery vehicles that would come to this facility. In addition, for improvements to the site, we're going to be reconfiguring the parking lot. I'll go over that shortly, but what will happen is we're going to basically keep the one-way circulation around the building. Right now, this curb cut to the south is actually 30 feet wide. We're going to reduce it to a width of about 18 feet, so we're taking 12 feet off it. The curb cut on the north end would remain the same, so it'd be right out and a left out to Enfield Street. There'd be 2 lanes around the building, one dedicated for the drive-through lane, and the second dedicated as a bypass lane. Off that lane around the building, we'd have 9 diagonal spaces to the south, 9 diagonal spaces off to the north, with 2 of them being handicap accessible ADA compliant spaces. So we're actually looking at a reduction of 4 spaces. Existing, there's 22 spaces throughout this site. We'll be down to 22 spaces, which we feel is going to be more than adequate and more important to get a better circulation on the drive-through. If you go back to the existing site photo, what you'd find is that between the face of the building presently and Enfield Street, there is a large paved area. It actually goes all the way over into the right-of-way. This is an area that's presently used for customers that are using the self-serve window or the service window at the front of the building. Typically during the summer months, it's coned off with orange security cones or safety cones, and then people would congregate in this area. But occasionally what also happen is if a car is in the north lane and actually does not want to go out into Enfield Street, it actually cuts back through and can make a circulation around the building without going back into Enfield Street. What we're proposing we're leaving the existing same width of that aisle along the front. What we're proposing to do is take the majority of it and actually put a seating area, a porous paver area in with tables on it, and then the remaining concrete area underneath the canopy would be utilized for customers to use the actual windows. Around that area, we're looking at putting a black aluminum picket fence, but rather than using conventional fence posts, we're looking at using precast bollards. So it's protected, so if a vehicle was trying to make an maneuver through there, it would hit the bollard rather than just have an open area it can actually go through. We would like to keep this lane in this location, just in that we feel for safety. If a customer does need to make a loop back around the building, it'd be safer to do that than to actually have to pull out into Enfield Street and then back into the site. The front patio area, so this is Dairy Queen in Glastonbury, Connecticut, that we recently had remodeled. You can see the patio would be similar to what we did out there. These are actually precast concrete bollards at each corners where the fence post would be, and then between them we put the black picket fence. So this provided vehicle protection for that area, and then you have the seating within that area. So it was very similar setup in Glastonbury with that Dairy Queen to what we actually have here. And then they also kept that bypass lane along the front so someone could maneuver back around the building. Zoning. We went through your zoning requirements. This is a bulk table of the different requirements in the BL zone. So nothing is really going to change as it exists to lot area, lot frontage, and setbacks of the building. The building is existing non-conforming to the front yard setback, being 25.2 feet off. The side yard setbacks will all remain the same, along with the rear yard setback. The only things that will be changing are, number one, we are looking at adding to the rear building a 8 by 10 foot refrigeration addition. Or refrigerator unit, which actually will increase the building coverage from 3.1% to 3.4%. So the overall building footprint, including the freezer, would be 869 square feet. One of the big things that changes is by the reconfiguration of the parking lot, our impervious coverage actually goes down significantly. Right now, you're looking at a totally impervious coverage of about 18,800 square feet on the overall site, or 74.3%. After the development, we're going to be down to about 16,706, or actually at 66%, which actually meets the requirement of the BL zone. So we'd actually be bringing that into compliance. How does that work with removing the pavement? So what I did is I took a copy of the site plan and I highlighted on this plan the different areas where we're actually adding pavement and where we're actually removing pavement. So areas you see in green, the lighter green, are areas where there's existing pavement and it's going to be removed. The areas in yellow are areas that are existing landscape and would become pavement. So you can see along the back, there is existing pavement back here, so there's just a very little bit of an increase. And then on the side area here, there's actually a utility pole that's going to be relocated to the front of the site, and this will become parking spaces along with a little bit of an addition of impervious surface off to the side. In total, you're going to be looking at a reduction of about 2,100 square feet of impervious surface, or about 8.3% to bring us into compliance with the regulations. Please remember that we actually are looking at a reduction in parking spaces also as part of this development. The drainage patterns all remain the same. Everything either drains out to Enfield Street or it drains out to a dry well on the northerly end of the property. So all we're really doing is regrading what's there and then keeping the same drainage patterns. But for our stormwater management, because we have a decrease in impervious coverage, we actually have a decrease in flow to the overall system. On this plan, you'll see a small brown rectangle. In this location, this is the area where we're proposing that freezer unit to be added to the plan. So this loading area can load right into that. We did submit a site photometrics plan as part of our application. We are replacing the existing lighting on this site. There are going to be 2 new lights poles along the northerly side, 2 new light poles on the southerly side, and 1 off on the far east side near the drive-through lane. All the new light fixtures would be LED, dark sky compliant, full cutoff fixtures. And what this lighting plan represents is that you'd see that we don't have any overspray of light onto adjoining properties, other than 0.1 foot candles onto the 2 commercial properties off to the north and to the south. So as I mentioned, this all started with Dairy Queen requiring Mr. Casetta to update the building. The photo you're looking at first is the existing building. It's a 1-story structure. It's about 16 feet high overall. The height, the footprint of the building are not changing. The overall window configuration, door location, and interior are not changing. The only thing is changing is the materials that are being used on this building. Right now, it's brick on the bottom with storefront glass around the front. And then you have a sloped roof to the side, and then the blue Dairy Queen background with the logo on the front portion of it. Dairy Queen is having them update it where we take that sloped front portion and actually provide a flat parapet type roof, no higher than the existing roof is today. You can actually see in dashed lines the existing roof line that's behind that new parapet wall that goes on the front. They're proposing to do it as a smooth metal surface and what they call actually Dairy Queen Blue with the new sign and logo above it. The bottom portion would be an EFIS system painted in a gray color, and then below the windows they're looking at doing a section that's done in safety red. To the sides, there are a couple options here. First, above the EFIS system, this section is actually going to be clapboard, and we painted what was actually called navy blue, or navy. Old Navy is the color. So it's actually a really dark gray, almost like a battleship dark gray. To the top, we looked at 2 things, either doing a darker gray shingle or doing a seamless metal siding, also in a gray. But that would be the existing roof that you saw in the prior photo as red, would be revamped, but with new material. But the only place you would see it is from the 2 sides. And then all the existing posts that support the front canopy would also be painted to match a similar color. So this would be the north side of the building. This is the drive-through window on the building. And this would be the south side of the building. Again, the EFIS system would continue around it with the clapboard, the darker clapboard to the top, and then a section of that flat panel wall would continue around too, and also that Dairy Queen, sorry, I lose my voice, in the Dairy Queen blue. Overall, we feel that this provides significant improvements to current conditions on the site. Again, we find that traffic circulation has been a major safety concern. I won't say major, but a safety concern out here. And by being able to move this drive-through lane, rather than just simply going in and repaving the parking lot, it would add much needed improvements in traffic circulation on the site. We did receive staff comments, and we did go through and answer the majority of the comments we can. I just wanted to go through a couple of them where we're, I don't want to say at a sticking point, but I think I wanted to be able to explain it better, if I could pull them out. There's a comment about we need to identify how we comply with section 10.107A of your lower letter I of your zoning regulations. This regulation says that I need to provide a 5-foot buffer strip along the front of the parking lot between the front property line and the front of the parking lot. As I mentioned, when I take a look at this site is an existing non-conforming site. There is this paved drive aisle that runs along the entire front of it. We're not asking to change the non-conformance. We're leaving everything as is. Our thought process is that we'd be better off leaving that, again, for purposes of customers that do need to cut back through, rather than having a safety concern going out to Enfield Street, making a short run, and then stop to turn back into the site. We thought it'd be a good idea to leave this. What we're requesting is to leave the existing non-conforming the way it is. All new parking spaces that we put in, we've actually pulled back to ensure that these parking spaces are at least 5 feet from the front property line. The other requirement is under section 10.107B, lowercase I, which deals with the minimum amount of landscaping required within the parking area. Your regulation says that we need to have 15% of the area of the parking lot landscaped. I guess I'm a little unclear on this is when I read the regulation, to me, what it sounds like is that within the area I'm dedicating for parking spaces, that I need to have that 15% in that area. So if I look at these 9 spaces to the south and these 9 spaces to the north, I would have to have 15% landscaping in there. As I mentioned, we're already providing a significant reduction in impervious surface. This island alone in the center is 1,800 square feet. In total, we're reducing impervious coverage by 2,100 square feet. If I go back to the drawing that represents areas where we're actually removing pavement. Oops, wrong way. You can see that there's areas along the north side where we're actually adding additional landscaped areas, and then again within this area here. So it's a little unclear as to whether or not this island can be credited as part of our landscaping. Technically, it's not within the parking lot, but it's within the overall site. And if I take a look at the overall impervious areas associated with this site, we easily meet and exceed 15% with that island in the center. In addition to add additional landscape islands, we've already reduced 4 parking spaces. It would be difficult for the applicant to eliminate additional parking spaces to provide additional landscaping. The only other comment I think we need to deal with was dealing with landscaping on this site. What we're proposing is to keep the existing landscaping other than 3 evergreen trees that are presently in this island here that would be removed. So presently there are 3 upright arborvitaes along the front. Along the northerly end, there's some very significant hemlocks. There's actually about 25-foot high hemlocks along this northern section and then down along the entire eastern section. Those all remain as part of this application. They provide buffering to that residential property that's off to the east. In addition to, there's a chain link fence that runs along an entire easterly property line. And then similarly on the south side, all the existing evergreens that are along that side would remain also. We are proposing at this point that the island in the center would be a lawn area. So it would be a green area, but we aren't proposing to plant it with any specific type of landscaping at this point. So with that, before I totally lose my voice, I'm going to conclude my portion of the presentation and hopefully answer any questions you may have.
Georgie?
Thank you. So the applicant described the project pretty well, so I'm going to skip that part in my report. I'm going to jump straight to outstanding items. On the departmental side, there are many outstanding departmental comments that have yet to be satisfied. The traffic authority has it on hold, waiting for signage for one-way and for one-way signage, do not enter. So that has yet to be commented and received. There's an outstanding engineering comment that needs to be addressed, a health comment, but a couple of updates. Water pollution control, their review has been completed. And then building is all set. And the last one would be our end. The applicant has clarified that the site meets section 10.10.7.B.I. I have not seen those calculations physically though. 10.10.7.A.I, the one about the landscaping setback, that is the only outstanding section for that front setback that has not been satisfied. We actually had a recommendation that they could increase green space further by adding a green island next to the first ADA spot towards the north part of the parking lot. That would prevent cars from parking next to that space as well. Just a recommendation that would decrease impervious coverage as well. They need a waiver for buffer C requirement. There's existing vegetation now that protects the neighboring properties from the rear. They did say that they will be adding the erosion and sediment control locations on their demo plan, which I have verified, so that comment's all set. The D series lighting, those dark sky compliant. There is minor light encroachment onto adjacent parcels. That should be tweaked, just minor, so those numbers are 0. What else is there? The landscaping sheet for the legend, that could always be a condition of approval for final plan review. The comment about the demo note, that has been satisfied. They are not removing the building. That note has been removed. They have added the E&S control guideline year, so that's all set. And then the FEMA flood zone, that was also removed, so that's all set. The only other outstanding comments that I had was the need for a dumpster enclosure for screening. Dumpster screening is required. And then section 8.60 for the Enfield/King Street Design Overlay District, which regulates architecture. And those are the outstanding comments.
Okay.
I just have one comment. That landscaping strip, the 5 foot, goes to the property line, not to the
Yes.
no. outside of the highway.
Right.
So, I mean, there's, especially since you've got seating there, there's no reason that you couldn't put that in.
And leave the paved area in the highway right away?
Well, you're gonna have seating there anyway. I mean, so you take where that red box is.
Sorry.
I do the
It's
same
okay.
thing,
I'm
don't
used to my
worry.
computer.
So where all that seating is, they're gonna need to put the 5 foot buffer in there between
are-
the seating, not there.
Yeah, I know, but are we okay in leaving this?
That's a
Yeah.
right of way.
Yeah,
Can we
that-
okay anything in that?
no.
That would be
that's-
OSTA
No, he's saying he
purview.
wants to leave the right of way alone, and that's fine, because
Yep.
you can't put anything there.
Right.
But you, on your property,
Where the seating is
where the
the,
seating is,
You
you
okay
need
with
a
putting
5
5
foot
foot?
buffer
that's where
there.
that 10.10.7A comes into play.
Between the seating area and the,
And I could see why
Property
you
line.
might want to put the seating there, but you have this great big green space in the back now.
The green space might actually be, I mean, you have the opportunity there to turn that into a nice seating area if
Nice little
you
park.
wanted to, then that would satisfy.
Sir, can you speak into the
Sorry.
microphone? I'm sorry.
That red area right now where we're proposing the patio, right now, there's tables way in the back of the property that we're using. That is like 12 feet from the original concrete that's there. If we put a buffer, that's going to leave 7 feet. 7 feet, you can't even put one chair in there or one table. It won't give you enough room for the tables and then for the people to stack in front of the windows. I mean, if I had more space, I would be more than happy to do that.
So what protection might there be between somebody sitting at a table and a car going through there?
So the bollards.
Bollards. Okay, so and
They're precast
with the
bollards that we
with
put
the
them right in.
bollards, you could put your landscaping.
the bollards are only 8 inches in diameter.
Yeah, they're,
So it'd be
Well,
similar.
actually, that's up to the commission as to
You're-
whether the bollards are
Yeah,
appropriate.
you have to use the microphone when you talk because you're on television.
yeah,
We have people who watch this.
the bollards are only 8 inches.
Yeah.
And they go right in between the fence. I mean, you know, we're talking 5 feet, 5 feet. I might as well not even put a patio out there because it's not going to be any useful to us. That's the typical bollard that you see right now. So, and the fence goes in between them.
Okay.
Yes, okay.
Commissioners, Walter, do you have any questions? That,
Here, you can have this back. I know what we
I'm
did
just
with
gonna
that.
Where is the dumpster now?
We do show a dumpster pad. It's going to be located at the rear of the property.
That right there, okay.
East,
that's what I
south
thought.
corner of the
And we
property.
do show a dumpster.
That's what I thought,
on the
okay.
plans.
No, that's.
Joe?
Do you have detail for the screening?
I could pull up the,
I just want to know that you did do it, because I didn't look at the details, so that's my bad.
Because it'd be a different concept. It'd be this would be a treat location, so it has a different seating. It's what exists in now.
Is it existing one now?
That's what we have now in the back.
Modify buffer standards. It doesn't say they can modify landscaping.
So it's not this one?
That's not the same, no.
Okay, we'll have to get you an update. We'll get you an updated one.
So
Okay. Joe, any questions?
I'm trying to look it up.
Joe, your microphone.
I'm sorry, I was just thinking the same, that the big green space that they're putting in behind the building, I mean, you could always put seating back there. I think people wouldn't mind. I understand what you're doing out in the front, but to keep that setback, I think you're gonna have to think about.
I would rather put the seat in, see where the green space is on the northeast corner
Yeah.
over there, because I don't want to put it in between the two cars.
Yeah, I understand that, but
Because now I got kids walking in
Yeah,
between the
yeah.
cars, and it's a safety
Yeah.
feature. I'd rather
I
put it.
guess my point is you have other nice spaces where you could put tables. I
Yeah,
think
I could
people
put them in the back.
would like to
That's where
sit.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
that's where they are now, in that
Yeah.
little green area in the back.
Yeah,
I mean,
that way you could put their buffer in the front and everybody'd be happy. Yeah. It was, the rest of it, I think, looks fantastic.
Terrence?
Yeah, Joe had the same comment I was gonna have, or close enough, so I'm set. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a question about, now, you're going to still have the walk-up windows on the front, right, as it's always been? So how do you, with the seating there, how do you accommodate the lines of people at the windows? Because I remember going there, and there could be a line of 10 people coming back from each
What they do right
window.
now is, they back up until, see where the patio was in the front, the
Yeah.
seating area? They back up to there. That's what they do. They back up, and then they move to one side to pick up the
But it
products.
doesn't look like it would accommodate a line, I don't know, how much space is that between the patio, between the seating and the,
It's close to 20 feet.
It's
Oh,
20,
that's 20
it's 22 feet from the face of the building. So what I tried to represent here is the brown rectangle is actually the overhang for the building. The dark black line below is actually the footprint.
oh, okay.
You gotta
Because it
remember
looked to
it's
me like there might not be enough
Yeah,
place
no,
for
so there's
people to line up.
there's at least 10 feet there, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
Christian?
Yeah, I mean, I'm echoing staff's concern about the setback and seating, and I do think that the landscape setback would be good, and I understand the desire to have seating up front, and I think there's still maybe potential to kind of have some, best of both worlds. Maybe not the ideal patio area, but maybe benches. I know you have benches on site already, so perhaps you could have some limited seating up front with the landscaped area. So that's an option. And then have your main seating area elsewhere. And perhaps kind of combine to Georgie's point about, I think it was Georgie's point about the, potential for more green space on the north west corner next to the handicap space. That's another potential avenue for green space and a seating area as well that might be more prominent in the front of the property. I can understand the value, so.
Commissioner, I have
Yeah.
one
Sure.
question on that. If we put green area next to the handicap parking space, it's going to back up the traffic that's going left, and they won't allow the traffic that's turning right going north. So there's going to be a bottleneck in here if I do that. Right now, if I leave it, they could go around the other car, because usually, I don't know if you ever try to get out of that driveway. It's pretty hectic going in and out, and that's why I wanted to reconfigure the whole parking.
What about the south west corner where you're adding the green space before the first parking space? Maybe not quite as much, possibly another opportunity. Yeah, is that, to move some more seating more prominently towards the front of the property? Is that something that could be considered and might allow you to have that landscape setback and then still have a large-ish seating area?
Yeah, I'd be a little concerned about putting seating in here, and
Yeah.
people are coming off the road and someone walking across the aisle. I mean, once you're into the site, you're a little more controlled, so I can see you in the back corner here.
I mean, I think you're going to have people walking through the site parking lot, I think, either way.
Did I see it now? The way the people act now, they'll come to the front, and and then they'll walk to the back of the property and use the tables in the back right now. So there's not a lot of in between the cars. And once they're back there, they usually park on the left side of the north side of the building, so they don't come across this way. That's what I noticed with the.
So as an alternative to having your main seating area in the front, you're fine with putting it back in the north east corner?
Yeah, I don't have a problem. That's where it is now.
Well, your main seating area is up front, but you're saying additional seating area back
Well,
there.
I think it shows 5 tables up front.
Yep.
If we leave, take 3 tables out and put your buffer there, and keep 2 up front. That's the only other thing, so.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be a good way to do it. And as far as, oh, go ahead, George.
Oh, I just want to add on to that note before you move on. That back corner where you have the seating now, your parking requirement is only 11 spaces. So, I mean, this is optional for you. If you wanted to, you could always take away two or one of those extra spaces, and you can enhance that seating corner.
yeah,
Just a thought.
no, we're down 4 spaces, and it's not so much between, say, March and April, or September and November, December. It's the peak months where you got from April to
Oh, so
September.
you're fully,
We're fully.
Okay,
That's
that
the
makes sense.
problem. You know, we try to accommodate everybody,
Right.
but how do you accommodate it, you know? And that's why I wanted to extend the drive-through, because
Yeah.
more of the cars will go through the drive-through instead of parking there. So that's why I'm willing to give up the 4 spaces, because we gain it in the drive-through.
You good? So the other thing was just with the parking lot landscaping, and I understand your concern with, eliminating spaces for landscaping in the middle, but our regulations do allow for landscaping at the ends of parking, and so that I see.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Yeah, so our regulation, which is 10.10.7B, does allow for, it says, these landscaped areas shall occur in interior or end parking lot islands. So I see that, the opportunity to implement those, again, at that southeast corner without losing any parking in between the parking and the sidewalk, as well as, that northeast, southwest and northeast.
So we're looking at the northeast corner.
Yep, so in the northeast is where you're gonna have your seating, your main
Right.
seating. So also I see that as the place for you to help achieve your parking lot landscaping requirements as well. So you don't have anything added there, you just have the existing
Hemlocks going around.
hemlocks around it. But that's not parking lot landscaping, whereas if you had landscaping at the edge of the parking, I think that would also,
Can I put some in the middle, where that green space is?
yeah, I would be amenable to that, yeah.
Yes, they're gonna look like a tree.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it would just have to fit with your seating design.
So if we could put like low shrubs around that, in that space,
I think it would, I think that would support it, and I think it would beautify the seating area as well. So I
I'm
think
fine
you-
with that.
So,
All set?
I just want to bring this back up because Lori brought this to my attention, and it, for some reason, slipped by me, which is very rare. The overlay district. How attached are you to the proposed architecture?
It's not attached.
We, actually, that's not my doing, that's Dairy Queen's doing, and Dairy Queen wanted to put EFS on the whole building. And we kind of modified it like 4 or 5 times with the Dairy Queen. So if you go to the side there a little bit, right there, they wanted to put EFS on the bottom and all the way up to the top. And that's why we put the clapboard, and then we painted the bottom and left the top part.
So, do you know if Dairy Queen has a traditional New England architecture style?
Not really. They really don't have one. It's based on what the town is proposing or what they'll approve. I mean, they don't even have that. If the first version of it is, you would get stucco all the way across, or the ephes on that, where we have the, go down. see where we have where that blue Apolloc is, to the left? That would have been all EFS all the way around. And even where the clapboard is, that would have been EFS all the way down, and it would have been painted. So we modified that. I had to send that to Dairy Queen to make sure that they're okay with it.
So I understand. The only problem there is the design district. The design district has specific architectural requirements, and that's where the traditional New England architecture comes into play.
Well, technically, I don't have to do anything for Dairy Queens. Dairy Queen's making me, but if you guys don't like that, I could just paint the building. I could paint that roof red and leave it like that. So if that's what you want me to do,
Well, that's up to them.
Okay.
I just tell you what the regs say.
Yeah, but that's what, I'm trying to meet you guys and, trying to accommodate what the town wants a little bit and then what Dairy Queen wants. I'm like caught in the middle. So this, to me, they said you could just paint the building and leave it red. If you're doing a project, you're trying to do it the right way. So that's the way I feel. So if we could accommodate both, so.
Okay. First off, I want to thank you for all my calories that I
Thank you.
get from the building.
Ice cream's good for you, though. It has a lot of calcium.
And it is.
what my
Sure it
wife
is.
says.
Yep, my wife says so too. Now, the seating area in the front, and I understand you want to capture people, but being a frequent flyer of your facility, in the summer, that front area is full
I
of
know.
people standing there waiting for ice cream. And then you want to move the traffic around. I just have,
I have no problem taking a whole scenario and put it in the back.
that's fine, but I'm just looking at your traffic flow so that if somebody goes to the drive-through and then decides, oh, I want to park and eat my ice cream, that is scary to me because I have seen that whole front with people standing there because it's so busy.
Well, the only other solution I could think, I could put the patio there without the seating area and put a fence around it with the bollards, so at least this way it's enclosed and no one.
I think that would be a great
If the
idea.
traffic moves around this way,
Yes.
no one, especially, we have kids coming in, and that's
Right.
what my concern is. And the parents sometimes forget they have kids.
Yeah, I know
So
they
they
do.
run around, and we look, and I said, oh my God, that kid could run into the parking lot,
Right.
run into the street. But that's why I wanted to put the patio in enclosed, but I could put the fence with the bollards over there, and this way, it's kind of protected.
Because you do have a high volume of customers, and they come, and they, stand there and they wait, and the kids are running around, like you said,
Oh, I
people
know.
forget, and I just see that.
I just want to mention
Have your name
something.
and address,
Yep,
please.
for the record, Justin Packard with Halsey Pearson Cassidy. Jim wasn't feeling well, so he stepped out. But so as Jim mentioned in the presentation, by adding all of these queue spaces to the drive-through, we are hoping that it will actually encourage people to go through the drive-through that are presently now parking and getting out of their car. I think a lot of people see the line already backed up at the drive-through and just decide they'd rather just park and get out, whereas now, if they look and they can actually have space to get into the drive-through, they will choose to actually use the drive-through rather than waiting in the front patio area as they do now.
I understand what you're saying, but I'm also, when you're taking your kids out for ice cream,
Yep.
they don't want to do drive-through. They want to get out.
Yep.
They want to go to the window. They think it's a big deal. And I'm a grandmother, I know. So the part that bothers me is that traffic flow in the front,
Well,
cutting
like I
across.
said,
I understand what you're trying to
What we can
do.
do is put the fence and bollards.
Yeah.
So this way, it won't allow anyone to go into that drive-through area. Because we do have people that come in now, and believe it or not, they'll come through the drive-through, turn around and go park. and eat the ice cream. I don't know why, I said, but
It's not funny. I do that.
but they do, you know? So we've seen all different,
They don't want a milkshake. That's what they go.
but we've
be
seen
faster
all
going to the drive?
situations going in and out. So
Yeah.
we're trying to improve what's best, especially in that front entrance where you got cars, once it backs up, you got cars trying to make a left turn if you're going southbound, and people trying to make a right turn if you're going northbound, and it's like a bottleneck there, because we can't stack the cars. And that's what we were basically
Okay.
trying to eliminate, you know?
Right.
But like I said, I could put the 5-foot buffer in there and put the fence in front of that.
That would, yes, Georgie.
I had a thought because I was listening to what you were saying. So I know you like the seating in the front and whatnot, but maybe what you can do with the seating in the corner for that little front area there, you could do the landscaping to meet that requirement, and then maybe like a couple of benches if you want to keep the seating. So you could still,
We have some benches now around the building.
okay,
We do have that.
Yeah.
right.
And we'll probably leave it. I'm trying to make it safe for everybody. That's my concern, because the kids eat on the bench on the side of the building, and all of a sudden you see them take off. And especially when you have cars. You know.
What about, if that's the case, have you thought about like adding some kind of like design feature that, so basically, hear me out for a second, this might sound kind of crazy, but from the seating area, even though we know we're relocating that, some kind of like crosswalk or small path indicating a walkway going to each side of the parking lot, just like,
Hash mark.
yeah, some kind of
Yeah, we could do
pedestrian
that.
crossing thing.
Hash mark. you know,
Yeah, because that would help drivers be like, oh, there's a walkway here, what is happening?
Yeah, that's not a problem. When they stripe it, we could hash mark, you know, maybe a 5-foot section
Mm-hmm.
coming to the.
Because then that would help too, because then you'd have that nice walkway from the parking lot protecting the families, and then you'd have that beautiful front landscaped area of maybe a couple of benches, and then people have room to stand and wait in line.
Yeah, that's fine. I have no objection to that.
Cool.
Okay. Christian?
Make sure we put the hash
I mean, I understand the safety concern, and I think that's perfectly valid. I'm a little concerned design-wise about putting a fence outside the landscape buffer, and I'm wondering if maybe if there's like a middle ground where we can have them do kind of a more natural kind of a green fencing in terms of shrubbery, like dense shrubbery, to avoid the need for
You're talking about in the
in
front?
the front. Yeah.
You need the bollards because you've got cars crossing in front of the building now, and you've got little kids.
Do you think? Okay.
So what I was saying, if we put the 5-foot buffer,
Mm-hmm.
and then in back of the shrubs, we put the fence, not in front,
Oh, okay, in back.
in the
Okay.
back.
Okay, so you
Yeah.
still have the shrubs.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think that would be better. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
That could turn out really aesthetically like beautiful too, not only for your pedestrian flow, but for your overall safety. Everybody loves their ice cream.
Yeah, I think it'll be good from the street as well. So, agreed.
Anybody else? Oh, Walter?
What's your time frame? Is this,
Well, right, actually.
because I want my ice cream this summer, so.
Thank you, that was a concern.
Well, I wanted to do it in October because that's September, late September, early October, because that's when our slow season is.
As long as you don't cancel the ice cream in the summer,
No,
I'm
no,
okay.
no, that we won't do, but I was trying to get it in this past fall, but between the utility company and other things, it just, we couldn't do it, but
Okay, staff?
The only things that I would like to see are those outstanding comments be satisfied on OpenGov, and then just have revised plans showing those changes. They are okay still with their statutory time frame before they need extensions.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
Right now, on the exit side, we have 2 signs that says "Do Not Enter" on the right of that, and on the left. We have it in the islands right now. On this other side, we could put it, I mean, we had the sign people just pound them in, so they put it. So I'm trying to figure out, you wanted a notation on entrance.
Yeah, so
Put it in If I put a Dairy Queen entrance sign there, it would have to be in the island, way back, so I don't know if people are gonna,
So it has to be on the site plan. The traffic officer, when he's reviewing the plans, he can't find that detail. So if you just add it, then that should be good for him. Then you'd have to respond to him directly on the portal.
Okay. And then on the most updated set of plans that we just sent, I think it was like a couple days ago, it did actually have a one-way sign.
Okay, good.
Proposed one-way sign. We showed an existing do not enter sign on the exit that we previously had missed on our survey. So there are actually 2 do not enter signs on each side of the exit right now. And then we were proposing to put the Dairy Queen entrance sign at the entrance with a one-way sign pointing one-way circulation through the parking lot. So we can add the detail for that entrance sign if.
Yep, it just needs to be on the plan with those comments from online and then the comments from tonight.
Okay.
so I took pictures. I don't think I sent this one to you,
I got that one.
but,
Yep, I have that one.
got that
Yep,
one?
you sent it.
So as, sorry to interrupt, so the actual sign needs to be shown where it's going to be located on the plan?
Yeah,
The
it's on the-
traffic officer's going to require that, and then you need the actual detail of that sign in the plan set.
Okay. Yeah, the location should have been on the last submittal, and then I'll add the detail to the detail sheet.
Yep. Of course, when we got those plans, that was digitally, right? So to save printing costs, because
Yeah.
we're going to have revisions tonight, so that would just be why.
That's okay.
Yep. So your new plan set will have that, and I'll see it.
Okay.
There are a lot of issues that came up tonight and, things that we're talking about making changes for. I would like to see those incorporated on the plan so we can see kind of the whole thing. Because I think it's going to be tough for us to track down a number of conditions tonight to impose and be able to vote on this
Well,
particular.
I wouldn't recommend approval while the outstanding comments are on hold.
Okay,
So we can table this
Yes, you
until
have- they
next
have-
okay,
meeting.
great.
Yes.
And he's not going to do anything until October because we have to have ice cream all summer. Walter and I are on the same page, so I don't know about you guys.
So, I make a motion to table this?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay, so we will see you next meeting,
Sounds good. Thank you.
when's the next meeting?
on
The
the
23rd.
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 I'll email you the agenda and my revised memo, and I'll call you tomorrow.
And you can,
That's okay.
yeah, and you can get together with staff and cover all these outstanding things, okay?
All right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Okay.
Number 12. New business.
We don't have any new business. We have commissioners' correspondence. Anyone? Director of Planning Report. See, I
Happy
didn't
New
skip
Year,
over
I
you.
have nothing.
Any administrative approvals?
None tonight. There will be next meeting.
Okay. Applications to be received?
We have 2 applications being received tonight. One is for admin approval to allow bar in the basement, SPR 1947, 138 Maple Street for the Enfield Elks Lodge 2222 applicant, Benevolent Hall Company owner, map 82, lot 12, I-1 zone. And then letter B, PH number 3112ZA, application for a text amendment to allow farm worker housing by modifying sections of 4.20, 4.60.2, 5.20, 6.20, 8.140, 9.10.2, and supporting definitions. Jarmock Farms LLC applicant.
Okay. Any, any opportunities, unresolved issues? Seeing none?
Everything's resolved.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. We are
Well, I'd like
adjourned.
to say